Wasn't bad, yeah.
That was a healthy one. Folks, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name's Jordan Dahl.
I'm Nate Balding.
I am Rajor Norquist.
This episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by Monstroko Studios. Are you a ghost, ghoul, or blurry Bigfoot? Monstroko Studios wants to make your video viral. Contact Manstroko Studios, and you can become Manstroko. You can become a popular online cryptid video like Bigfoot drinks from the pool, Bigfoot at a bar mitzvah, or basketball ? Monstroko Studios from Monstroko.
I watch their videos. They do good work. We recently covered one in the news. Wait for it on Wednesday.
Basketball ? Is pretty scary because it could be a basketball, but maybe it's something else.
Wow, and the whole dribbling scene from Manstroko, different deal, but equally lucrative.
I knew I was done for as soon as I said Manstroko. That'll be next week's product. I foresee it.
No man from Monstroko, the Manstroko.
The Manstroko. A new man in defiance of God's will.
And now from Herstroko, the same thing.
Woman Stroko. Welcome to the pod. It is, of course, Witchtober for me. So I would like to go first, if I may take the witching skull.
Go first. You are the most devout to the pumpkin god, truly, and you should go first.
The witching skull is the speaking skull, but it has a witch's hat on, and it can translocate. Okay, here we go. I want to talk to y'all about witchcraft in Japan. I feel like this is an area of witchcraft that is not really explored, and the reason behind it is there's not really a tradition of witchcraft as we know it in Japan. There's not like a wicked witch vibe. The witch trial hysteria didn't really reach them in the same way. But it did. They do definitely have entities and practices that could be related to witches and witchcraft. And I wanted to look a little bit into that today. I found a good article on thehumanexception.com, which is about witchcraft in Japan. And it basically says Japanese folklore is full of magical creatures, tales of persons with mystical abilities. These people aren't referred to as witches per se. The word witch is it's a more European kind of thing. But in Japan, they have a much larger syllabus of magic and lore, each category referring to specific characteristics and each with their own stories and relationships. But there are some figures that fall into what we might think of as a witch.
Nice.
So
I would just also like to throw it out there that I'm now looking for band members for my indie rock group Witchcraft in Japan.
Fuck yeah. It's my favorite Halloween episode of the Bake Off. So this segment is called Familiar Witches. There are many tales of witches who have animal companions, the two most common being snakes and foxes. You might have heard of foxes being referred to as kind of a magical, mystical, sometimes sort of a sinister figure in Japan.
They steal my keys, and then I'm late for work.
You're late for the key party.
Usually tricksters. The nine-tailed fox is.
What are they called? Kumai or something?
Ooh, I
forgot the word for it. Anyway.
So first up, fox witches. The fox is an incredibly important and prominent character in Japanese folklore. Kitsune is what you were looking for.
Ah, yes.
Which is Japanese for fox. The kitsune itself is rich with lore and mythology. Finding the line between kitsune and witch lore is nearly impossible. They are intrinsically connected, much as what do witches have in the West? Black cat, right?
Black cat, warts.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of a familiar.
Oh, frogs, cats,
Black cat is what we were looking for. Just keep going. Oh, frogs, dogs, Macho Man, tiny Macho Man.
Sometimes, but like really mean ones.
Yeah. This person wanted to give Kitsune fables their deserved attention, so they're going to try and specifically talk about the stories that land more on the witchcraft side versus the powerful mythical beasts of the legends. In Japan, foxes have a rich history and symbolism that is tied to witches. We've already talked about that. The lore of foxes says that they can be tricksters, but they can also be faithful guardians, friends, and even lovers. Ooh. But in most witchcraft stories, foxes serve as familiars to witches. The Edo period, 1603 to 1867, was the height of the superstition. It's a pretty good run. It was like 200 years. Tales of witches and their fox companions became quite prevalent. There's two ways that someone may obtain a fox as a familiar: through inheritance or through a deal. Let's talk about that deal. Kitsune Sukai or Kitsune Mochi are fox witches who made a deal with the fox so that it will enter their employ, typically in exchange for food or daily care in return for the fox's magic powers. This sounds great. This sounds like a great deal for everybody. You get to have a fox buddy and magic powers. That's the 2 pluses for me as far as
this sounds like a deal I can make as well. Tell me what they want to eat. I'll buy it.
Fox food. Mainly.
I'll buy it.
Go get it. Probably like fish and what do foxes eat? Garbage?
Yeah, probably. They mostly live around trash cans.
Yeah. There are many tales in which the witch tricks the fox into their service. So like, through some sort of unsavory business practices, they get them to sign a contract or something that's not in their best interest.
If you get 2 of your fox friends to sign up for this thing, you're going to be making so much money. All the garbage you can eat.
Yeah, I don't want garbage. Well, that's what we got. So there's even something known as the Izuna rite, where the witch would capture a pregnant fox, tame her, and then take special care of the kits when they are born. When she and the kits are strong enough, she will leave, but will ask the witch to name one of the kits. That kit will always be in the witch's service. This sounds adorable, and I love it.
I do love this. This is very like Spirited Away whimsical, like very Miyazaki type.
Yeah. While fox alignments tend to be all over the map, once a fox enters the employment of one of these witches, they become a force of evil and are to be feared. The witch will have their fox companion help achieve their goals, often in a covert manner. High stealth on these things. The powers a fox may have is quite broad, and you can understand why they'd be good companions for witches. These are some of the powers. Possession, they can possess a fool.
Nice. Good power.
Fire or lightning powers.
Ooh, you need quick damage. Very low cost.
High DPS. Willful manifestation in the dreams of others. Flight. Everybody knows foxes can fly.
Yes, I do.
Invisibility. And illusion weaving. The fox can sometimes...
They have cute jumps.
Yep, they do those little jumps. The fox can create illusions that are so elaborate as to be almost indistinguishable from reality. So, like, you could think you're eating a delicious plate of garbage, and instead, it's like razor blades or something,
That'd be awful.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it was just it was going to be a delicious garbage plate.
You can think you're having a delicious pizza, and instead it's a bomb. You're eating C4, and then the fox appears across the table and clicks a detonator, and you're toast, homie.
The fox always wins.
Some tales speak of kitsune with even greater powers, able to bend time and space, drive people mad, or take fantastic shapes such as an incredibly tall tree or a second moon in the sky.
This is a lot of power.
I didn't know the fox was a god. Yeah,
Telling
that's
you.
awesome.
Foxes are all powerful, and if they team up with a witch, this power can also be yours if you perform the rite of Izuna.
I think I will.
It really feels like this is like a screenplay in the waiting. If this isn't already out there, it's like all the beats are there. I'm sure it is.
Other to the Japanese media cabinet.
Other kitsune have characteristics reminiscent of vampires or succubi and feed on the spirit or life force of humans, generally through sexual contact. So you know how everybody wants to fuck a fox, apparently.
Yes, unfortunately, I think about it all the time.
This is and talk about it in therapy. This is actually a joke that I have just started telling, which is when people talk about someone and refer to like a hot person as a fox, like, oh yeah, she's such a fox. It's like, oh sure, the most fuckable animal. No, I just mean she's sexy. Like, yeah. In the same way you think a fox is sexy.
Chad does bring up Disney's Robin Hood. I mean,
Disney's Robin Hood did a lot of damage.
It did a lot of damage to a lot of gay boys and straight chicks.
I
definitely had a childhood crush on Maid Marian.
Oh yeah, sure. Childhood.
Yeah, we're not saying anything weird. Childhood.
The prime time to fuck a fox when you're a kid.
They can feed on your life, the same size, and your spirit. The witch will use their powers to trick people or overwhelm them to get what they want. But most feared of all fox powers is their ability to possess people. So this idea that foxes can possess people is that's like their main thing. That's like, you know, when you think of Dracula, he drinks blood before everything else, right?
Mm-hmm. That's his Gatorade.
Yeah. What a witch could do with a possessed person could be nefarious as ruining their lives or leading them to their deaths, or as scammy as the witch showing up and offering to exorcise the person for a fee. So she gets you possessed by a fox, and then she shows up and she's like, I've got my fox plunger from Monstroko. I get it right out of there. So that's the deal fox, the deals fox. I'm the deals fox. I've come to your home with great deals.
And then you said the next one was one that my grandpa would leave me.
Yes, this is the hereditary fox. On the hereditary side, there are families that are thought to have special relationships with fox spirits. The families often pray to and serve these spirits to watch over them and the people they care about, bringing them prosperity and help with the harvest. Each generation is taught the rituals of their fox spirit, and the fox spirit families do not marry into non-fox spirit families. While these fox spirits sound a lot more benevolent than the witch familiars, it is still said that the families can pay tribute to the fox spirit to take revenge on their enemies.
Right. This is the fox that turns into Toni Collette.
Yes, exactly. Bangs her head against the ceiling. It is still said that these families found it difficult to sell property and do business with regular townfolk. And as the fox spirit was thought to be passed down through the women of the family, the daughters had a hard time finding husbands. Being perceived as a fox spirit family could ruin your life and the lives of all your offspring. During the Edo period, it was common to do extensive research into family trees of potential partners to ensure that there was no fox spirits in the family. If a family was identified as a fox family, the town may raise their house and banish them. Dang. Sucks.
I'm confused. You didn't say anything truly bad or anything. Is it just that fear, I guess?
Burning down the home of the family that...
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like, why it's bad to be a fox family, truly, other than just fear of the other, you know?
Because they're using marriage, or they're using magic to get success and, like, you know, otherworldly powers, and they're othered, you know?
Yeah.
And so...
It's sad.
People fear what they do not understand.
But, you know, marry into the family. Get to know the tradition.
They didn't start building sandals with bootstraps for nothing.
Yeah.
Fair.
Today, burakumen is used as a collective term for these undesirable groups. Oh, yeah, here it is. I'll give you some guesses as to which families were most frequently thought to be fox families: the untouchables, the impoverished, and the undesirables of Japan, who are called burakumin. This classification began to show itself in the feudal era with discrimination against beggars, people who worked in kegare, which is known as defilement jobs, such as executioners, undertakers, slaughterhouse workers, butchers, or tanners. So really, it was a way to just ostracize the poor. You're a fox monster.
No war, but fox war.
Yeah. Accusing a Burakumin family of being a fox family was a good excuse to chase them out of town, for instance. No one wanted such undesirables. Burakumin were forced to live in their own villages, similar to ghettos, and this discrimination, though not as severe, still exists today. This kind of goes on about Burakumin for a while and how a lot of bad shit was done to them, which is a bummer, but though not what we're here to talk about today.
Learn about it in your own society.
Yeah. It is said, however, that over 60% of the Yakuza is comprised of Burakumin descendants and therefore fox families. Next up, we have Dakini Tens. There is one other magical fox-related entity known as Dakini Tens. These are female witches that appear in the form of or riding a white fox. The Dakini Ten entered Japanese culture with the introduction of Shingon Buddhism. As Buddhism traveled through Asia, it acquired many stories and practices that reflected the cultures it passed through. Really, this is super fascinating. One day we will do an article here on the website, blah, blah, blah. Dakinis existed in Buddhism prior to its arrival in Japan, seemingly linked to Hindu folklore. During the Heian period in Japan, the Dakini image was mixed together with images of foxes and half-naked women, acquiring the name Dakini Ten. Thus, the figure entered the culture and became a powerful symbol. Dakini Ten, in the Middle Ages, the Emperor of Japan would chant before an image of the fox, Dakini Ten, during his enthronement. And both the shogun and the emperor would venerate Dakini Ten whenever they saw it, as it was a common belief that at the time, ceasing to pay respects to Dakini Ten would cause the immediate ruin of the regime.
That's power. You have the emperor bowing to you.
The fox riding witch. Wild. So next up, we're going to talk about snake witches. Oh. Snake witch stories seem to only come from Shikoku, a small island off the coast of Japan, and the Chugoku district. While considered to be the second most prevalent witch familiar, I had a hard time finding information about them specifically. There is one story that came up frequently in my research. This is the story of Jakotsu Baba. There's an old woman in the northern Funkan-koku, China. In her right hand, she holds a large blue snake. In her left hand, a red one. The people of this country call her the Jakotsu Baba, the old snake bone hag. They say she is the wife of Jakoemon, five-snake Amon, and that she holds vigil over the family tombs. She is sometimes called Jacoba, the five-snake woman, depending on the dialect of the region. And that's all the information that we have on snake witches.
Wow, okay. Mysterious.
Although Snake Witch, also a good band name.
Mm-hmm. They also have... Yes, it truly is.
Nothing but great band names coming out of Japanese witchcraft.
They also have cat witches in Japan. Unsurprisingly, cats are tied to witches. Even in Japan, centuries ago, it was a common belief that young women should not visit temples after the sun went down. The story goes that they would be approached by a kindly old woman who would lure the girl to their home and then, in her true witch form, devour the girl. It was thought that cats that hang around the temples are these witches in hiding, kind of a shape-shifting were-cat situation.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. There is a figure known as Miko in Japan, also known as the Shrine Maiden or Priestess. In ancient times, their roles was to get the messages of the gods and convey them to other people. But in the modern age, it has changed to a role in shrines served by women. Women were priests, soothsayers, magicians, prophets, and shamans. They were the chief performers in organized Shintoism. So it's though Shintoism is kind of a like more of a private endeavor doesn't necessarily have priests or things. When you go to the temple, you'll often find one of these Mikos who acts as kind of a guide through the temple, and they're kind of looked upon with witchy energy.
And that's you find them in houses too. It's that little the cat with like one paw raised.
Yeah,
it's usually
I know that guy.
A good luck kind of thing.
Yeah. We also have Himiko, who was the Queen Himiko, was the earliest ruler in Japan that can be verified as a real person. One of the most interesting things about Himiko is that she either goes unnamed or is purposely excluded from all of Japan's oldest historical records. The reason we know about about her is thanks to historical records of China and Korea. So nobody, I don't know why she's in here, but maybe she was a witch. Who knows? This is one that I wanted to talk about. This is Yamabushi, and then I will pass the speaking skull. Yamabushi are Japanese mountain hermits believed to be endowed with supernatural powers. Sometimes they are called Japanese mountain witches. For more than 1,400 years, Yamabushi have been walking Japan's sacred mountains, believing that this harsh natural environment can bring enlightenment. Their origins can be traced back to solitary Yamabitu of the 8th and 9th century. They live harsh lives alone in the mountains, so on and so forth. It is thought that they were the inspiration for the mercurial mythical creatures called Tengu. Y'all know about Tengu?
Oh, yeah.
I know a little bit about Tengu.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of scary.
They have them fun noses.
Yes, and kind of wings and stuff.
Pretty cool dudes, actually.
Pretty cool dudes. I did want to find this Japanese mountain witch story because it's pretty cool, and I seem to have misplaced it. There we go. This is the Yamamba, is the Japanese mountain witch. Yamamba. This is from medium.com. Perhaps you've heard of this. Deep in the Japanese mountains where the cryptomeria are thick and time is forgotten, you may encounter a woman. She lives alone in a modest hut spinning thread, content to watch the wheel turn round and round, to let the moon and sun spin past. She asks for nothing and bothers no one. But every now and then, as night falls, a man will stumble along her path, or sometimes two men, or an entire retinue of traveling priests, and they will beg her to take them in for the night. Perhaps they lost their way, or maybe they misjudged the speed of the sun's descent and found the woods growing darker than expected. She declines their request at first. Her hut is small and hardly fit for men as fine as these, dressed in palace vestments or temple finery. She is poor besides. She thinks but doesn't say, why should I be responsible for their inability to read a map or tell time?
Yeah.
Still
straight.
The men persist, and she takes pity on them, perhaps for one night. Then, don't open the door to the inner room, she warns as she heads out into the woods collecting kindling. She'll need to feed these fools. So, what do you think they do the minute she's out of sight?
Open her sock drawer. See what's up top.
They look into the inner room. What do you think they find?
Sniff.
What do you think they find? What do you think they find in the inner room?
Inner room. So we got the main area, and then there's
chamber.
like a weird storage area in the middle. They find a body.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's her.
Roger got this one right. Her forbidden chamber is full of the corpses and bones of all the men who came before them, of the men who could not keep their hands to themselves or their noses out of her business. The woman is Yamamba, Japan's mountain witch. Before she even returns to her hut, she feels the sharp scrape of the men's scrutiny. She sees herself now through their eyes. She is not a kindly old woman living alone, spinning thread. She is a monster, or she is when she wants to be. And she wants to be when busybodies turn to look at her in horror. So she turns into a monster as they turn.
Perception beast.
They tell people about the story, and then she burrows deeper and deeper into the mountain, where hopefully nobody will find her again. The Yamamba is indeed a yokai, which is kind of a series of ghosts in Japanese mythology. And these are just a little bit of kind of the witchy figures in Japan. I'll come up with some more perhaps for another segment in Witchtober, but that's going to do it for my segment that I'm calling Foxes and Snakes and Yamamba. Oh my.
Bravo.
Oh, my.
Bravo.
Oh my.
Nate, if you would like to hit the translocation button, get the skull to you, I'll finish the episode with some ghost stories like we've been doing.
I shall absorb it. Come here, little squirrely. There it is in my hands. You guys know about the Boggy Creek Monster, yeah?
Oh, how could I forget?
Well, now you're going to learn the same exact thing that maybe you already know, because I'm going to talk about the Boggy Creek Monster of Fuke, Arkansas.
Yeah.
This is partially from Atlas Obscura, partially from Wikipedia, and partially from shit that I remember. So the legend of the Boggy Creek Monster has long captivated the people of Fuke, Arkansas, a little town about 150 miles outside of Little Rock, which it's kind of like, I love Arkansas because you have to translocate from Little Rock no matter where you are. Like 150 miles outside of Little Rock is not an insignificant distance.
No, that's the other part of the state.
Yeah. It is said that Fuke is the first place that this cryptid was spotted. According to legend, the Boggy Creek Monster stands between 7 and 8 feet tall on 2 feet and weighs close to 300 pounds. Its chest, legs, and arms are covered with thick, long hair. So we've got us a full-on Bigfoot here, Arkansas's Bigfoot.
For sure.
The first reported sightings go all the way back to 1834.
Dang.
Yeah, when people began to report a large, hairy, wild man was roaming around Arkansas.
It's an antebellum ass Bigfoot.
I mean, it's not even, this is pre-war.
Oh, pre-bellum.
Yeah. But I mean, this is also a wild man roaming around Arkansas, so that could just be a tall guy wearing skins or something.
Sure.
But could be big feet.
Could be big feet.
In the 1900s, sightings around Fuke became more frequent. Residents spotted the monster more than 40 times in 1997 alone.
Damn.
It was big in the grunge era.
It's a lot.
It's been suggested that the animal was nocturnal, but a hunter reported a sighting in broad daylight in the Sulphur River Wildlife Area near Fuke in 2000.
He was sitting in a lawn chair drinking Bud Light limes. He had one of those hats on that's also an umbrella.
Sounds about right. There were in 1851, there were reports in the Memphis Inquirer, and in 1856, a report in the Caddo Gazette about sightings. There was several sightings in 1964. Local folklore also holds that the creature can be further traced back to sightings also in 1946. Although they also called it the Jonesville Monster during that time.
Oh, okay.
So same guy, Jonesville Monster and Fuke Monster. I mean, possibly, I guess it's over more than 100 years. We don't know what their lifespan's like. Maybe it's a whole genealogical situation. In
Bring us the
1955,
body. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I'll be the judge.
Bring
In
us
1950
the body.
In 55, the creature was allegedly spotted by a 14-year-old boy who described it having reddish-brown hair, sniffing the air, and not reacted when it was fired upon with birdshot.
Oh, boy.
However, investigator Joel Nickel observed that the description was consistent with a misidentified black bear. So, all right, 14-year-old kid shooting a bear with birdshot.
Can bears just take shots like that? Like, Jordan,
so.
you've been in the mountains longer than any of us. Are bears that awesome to they just take some salt or birdshot and they're like,
Yeah,
bring it?
honestly, bears are pretty beefy. Like I don't claim to be some sort of bear shaman, but
Sure.
unless you really like put a slug in their skull, it's like you run a chance of just kind of pissing them off. They do spook pretty easy though.
Yeah, this was pretty gnarly for a 14-year-old kid to be like, I'm going to take out that bear with this fucking pellet gun.
Yeah.
But here's the big one. The Fook Monster first made local headlines in 1971 when it was reported to have attacked the home of Bobby and Elizabeth Ford on May 2nd, also 1971. I don't know why it says it twice. According to Elizabeth Ford, the creature, which she initially thought was a bear, reached through a screen window during the night while she was sleeping on a couch.
Oh boy, that ain't a bear.
Yeah.
And also pretty scary if it was a bear too.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah. Either way, I'm pooping them.
But I feel like the Fook Monster has a longer reach. It's more of an ape arm.
Sure.
Than a bear
Yeah,
arm.
a little bit more.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Big fucking orangutan arm reaching through the window at night. Imagine waking up to that. Imagine the pants you would shit.
Punching right through.
God, all fucking murders at the Rue Morgue.
Like loud enough that it wakes you up too. Because I mean, you could probably punch through a screen window and make not a lot of noise.
Frightening.
But yeah, so she's awoken by this thing pounding through a screen window.
Yeah.
It was chased away by her husband and his brother, Don. During the alleged encounter, the Fords fired several gunshots at the creature and believed they'd hit it, though no traces of blood were found.
What?
An extensive search of the area failed to locate the creature, but three-toed footprints were close to the house.
Ooh.
Three-toe, that's
Also-
special.
Yeah,
That's not no normal mammal.
Yeah.
very different from Bigfoot also.
Mm-hmm. Who famously has regular
The
five
big
toes.
five-toed feet.
He's just a big. He's got like basketball player feet. Bigfoot ain't that special. This is special now, man. We got three toes.
Also, you know what I always thought is like if Bigfoot is gigantic, his feet are just proportionate.
Yes.
But I guess proportionate foot doesn't sound as good on a t-shirt.
Regular foot for 10-foot tall guy.
Yeah.
But check out the Werewolf Radar merch store at werewolfradar.com for our proportional foot Bigfoot shirts.
Yeah, maybe it would be appropriate foot.
You know what they say about guys with big feet? Usually proportionally found bodies. They also found extensive scratch marks on the porch and damage to the window in the house's siding. Obviously, the window's been broken, but so it was like bashing up on the place as it was doing whatever it was trying to do.
It was doing a bash.
Yeah.
It's kind of bear-like, though, you know, like searching, scratching itself up on shit.
Right. Might have started back first. Yeah. Just itching.
Yeah.
Because you got this matted hair that's blocking fucking bullets and shit. You got to scratch up on something large.
Sure. I feel like we might have given you the wrong impression about bears.
They're just immune.
They got cyber skin, man.
According to the Fords, they had heard something moving around outside late at night several nights prior, but having lived in the house for less than a week, had never encountered the creature before. So they had just moved in. So this might have been Bigfoot's territory, and they were encroaching on it.
I mean, it really sounds like it, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
He was using this entire building as a scratching post.
Yeah. And then he shows up one day and
they had the gall to fucking show up and move in.
Oh, this place is full of dickheads.
The creature was allegedly sighted again on May 23rd, 1971, when three people, D.C. Woods Jr., Wilma Woods, and Mrs. R.H. Sedgas, reported seeing an ape-like creature crossing U.S. Highway 71. More sightings reports were made over the following months by local residents and tourists who found additional footprints. The best-known footprints were found in a soybean field belonging to a local filling station owner named Scott Keith. Mm-hmm. They were scrutinized by game warden Carl Gallion, who was unable to confirm their authenticity. However, like the Ford prints, they appeared to indicate the creature had only 3 toes.
Okay, interesting.
So either this is like a different thing, or maybe it's like deformed. Maybe it
interesting.
Caught in a trap or something.
Lost some toes in a bear trap or something.
Maybe it's a Ninja Turtle. No, Ninja Turtles have 2 toes.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's ridiculous. At this time of year, in this part of the country.
But in any case, it's got to be the same creature. Because, I mean, the only other thing that we know about that would leave a footprint similar to that even is like a chupacabra, which would be a lot smaller.
And again, that's ridiculous.
We're in Arkansas. We're not in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, there's no goats.
It's true.
Goats were outlawed in Arkansas.
The incident began to attract substantial interest after news spread about the Ford sighting. The Little Rock, Arkansas radio station KAAY busted.
KAAY, the K.
Posted a $1,090 bounty on the creature. I don't know why they didn't get to $1,100 or leave it at $1,000, but
probably listener promoted to, like, if you give us $1, we'll throw it in, and at the end we'll have a bounty and we'll get the photo.
Maybe. It sounds like somebody just took $10.
Yeah, sure does, doesn't
it? Several attempts were made to track the creature with dogs, but they were unable to follow its scent. When hunters began to take interest in the Fook monster, Miller County Sheriff Leslie Greer was forced to put a temporary no guns policy in place in order to preserve public safety.
And the people of Arkansas nearly died. Yeah, that's the weird thing is if you put less guns in Arkansas, a lot more deaths happen. It's like water.
In 1971, 3 people were fined $59 each for, quote, filing a fraudulent monster report.
I love it. That's on the books.
After an initial surge of attention, public interest in the creature decreased until it gained national recognition in 1973 when Charles B. Pierce released a docudrama horror film about the creature called The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Of course, we know this well. One of my favorite Mystery Science theaters.
Yes.
I've eaten popcorn to it.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask you this real quick. How many Boggy Creeks do you think there are?
Oh, now I think there's like 70.
Yeah, a lot. Probably tons, hundreds and thousands of them.
The very fact you can ask that question means there's probably more Boggy Creeks than there are stars in the sky.
I can shake a creek at, yeah.
Well, there are 6 of them.
Oh, okay. That's not as many as I was anticipating.
More stars than what in the sky right now.
Fair.
Well, it's daytime, so
that's also true.
Also, that first one, it made $20 million at the box office.
That's not bad.
That thing got a wide release.
Fuck.
And that was done like in the 70s,
1972.
Dude, that's a good run for a movie back then.
It was $160,000 to make, and it was the dude Pierce. He was a huge scam artist. He just hired a bunch of high school students. Basically, they were the crew. Nobody was anywhere near a union.
Yeah. Course.
So he made it for virtually nothing. He interviewed locals who gave their time for free, and the thing made $20 million.
Good Lord.
So, of course,
genius.
Somebody went back. Yeah. No, I mean, he's good on him. They went back and did Return to Boggy Creek in 1977, which I think is probably the Mystery Science Theater that you're most familiar with.
Sure.
And then Boggy Creek 2 and The Legend Continues in 1985. Then in 2010, it took a few years off. Boggy Creek, The Legend is True.
Oh. I knew it.
This one is released to home video in 2011 after not getting a wide release. Early buzz suggested that the film, directed by Brian T. James, was to be a remake of the original 1972 film. However, it's an unrelated story set in a fictional town of Boggy Creek, Texas.
Okay. So his plan was to film a lie and pitch it as true. Genius.
Yes. Also, this kind of, I'm going to guess, coins the phrase Southern Sasquatch horror slasher.
Nice. Sure.
Defined a subgenre, you know?
Then in 2011, the following year, there's The Legacy of Boggy Creek, originally released in 2009 under the title The Skunk Ape Story.
Nice.
Was re-edited and then re-released under this new title. Apparently, it is another docudrama chronicling the events that began after the original attacks in Fook, written and directed by Dustin Ferguson. And then in 2016, we've got Boggy Creek Monster, an actual documentary film about the Fook monster. Directed by Seth Breedlove, who co-produced the film with Lyle Blackburn under the banner of Breedlove's production company, Small Town Monsters. This is just an actual bunch of interviews with people who sort of remember the shit that happened in the 70s.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I sort of remember that. It was a monster, right? Some kind of boggy.
Maybe walked around a creek or something.
Yeah.
There were also in the late 70s, 78, there were tracks reportedly found by two brothers in Russellville, Arkansas. There were sightings in Center Ridge, Arkansas, Crosset. During the period, the creature was blamed for missing livestock, attacks on several dogs, etc. Since the initial clusters of sightings from the 70s, there have been sporadic reports of the creature. In 1991, it was reportedly seen jumping from a bridge.
Holy shit.
Couldn't take it anymore, you know? Had a life insurance policy. Was more valued than what he was bringing in, you know? Family was in destitution, and then you got to do what you got to do. Take care of the kid.
Like its brethren, the bear, it found that its skin was unbreakable and he could not be hurt.
Because bear, if you can take a fucking bullet, there's no reason he couldn't survive this as well.
This is true.
There were 40
I'm
reported
saying insurance fraud.
There were 40 reported sightings in
Insurance
1997.
fraud.
And in 98, the creature was reportedly sighted in a dry creek bed 5 miles south of Fook.
Mm-hmm. Smoking weed.
So this thing is around. Like, it's been being seen multiple times a year, every year for God knows how long.
Seems we got a proper population for breeding. Like, it's around. It's not one creature, I think.
Probably not, especially if that one killed itself.
Right.
And later on, some people saw more.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the Fook Monster, aka the Boggy Creek Monster.
Pretty cool.
In this segment, go Fook yourself.
Bravo.
There was a lot there that I did not know about the Boggy Creek Monster, and now I feel a little more prepared.
Yes, you can go back to that MST3K and go,
yes,
I know more about this.
Even though I can never go back to Boggy Creek,
you won't address.
Clear.
Well, let me hit the translocation button. I'm doing it. As it sends over to me. There it is. So I have a number of ghost stories so scary they'll haunt you for weeks. This BuzzFeed article says.
Oh, hunt me to the end, BuzzFeed.
So let's rate them by how many weeks they're gonna haunt you for.
Oh boy,
I have 45 of them. We're gonna do each and every one.
Okay. These like those 2-sentence horror stories you hear about?
Oh no, these are paragraphs long. This is going to be our first 6-hour episode.
Once there was a green goblin.
Just all caps. Oh shit.
So 1 through 45, Nate, pick a number.
3.
All right, let's go to the third story.
Oh, I like this.
So it goes, I was visiting my mother after my dad had died. She went shopping with her sister and left me alone in her house. I heard my dad plain as day in his room. He got up from his chair, walked over to the door and opened it. He walked down the stairs and stood on the last step for a few seconds before walking back up to his room and closing the door. I was probably 5 feet from him in the living room, just sat there frozen. That's that one. How many weeks, gentlemen?
A week.
It gave me some goosebumps. 1 week.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 week, 2 days.
All right. Jordan?
40.
1 through 45. What was it?
40.
40. Let me scroll down. So many ads. Okay. So we were taking a tour of the Battleship Massachusetts in Falls River for my girlfriend's 30th birthday.
I'm sure that's what she wanted.
She wanted to do scary stuff, says the person,
Okay.
and I wanted to see museums. So we stayed at the Lizzie Borden house right next. The next night, the Shanley Hotel. I didn't personally feel any definitive paranormal activity at each location, but there were definitely signs. The one place I wanted to go that wasn't meant to have any paranormal activity was the ship. While we were touring the bathroom cafeteria area, I was snooping around the shower, just curious.
The bathroom cafeteria?
Look, give him a break. He's trying to make this a nice birthday.
This is a ship, okay? It's maritime law. The bathroom is the kitchen. The kitchen is the bathroom.
Look, you piss in the galley, you eat in the galley. What do you want?
I was snooping around the shower, just curious, when I got tapped on the shoulder. Thinking it was my girlfriend, I turned around, but no one was there. She was a few rooms away, and we were the only two people in the area. Nothing was hanging over me or leaking. The area was a little cool, and it just felt as if a human touched my shoulder.
Interesting.
All right. For me, that's kind of a week and a half. That spooked me a little bit.
It's spooky.
It took me out. I would expect to see stuff at the Lizzie Borden house or the other place, and then all of a sudden this place, and we're like, okay, well then. Apparently you're safe nowhere.
Yeah, I'm not unspooked.
Okay, I'm going to go pick one.
Okay.
And my favorite number is 33 because of a Rolling Rock commercial featuring Jim Gaffigan.
Okay.
There it is. I was in my room writing in my journal before bed. It was a little bit later, and my parents were asleep. Most of the lights in the house were off except a little desk lamp. All of a sudden, this figure stood in front of me, and I couldn't breathe. It only lasted for 5 seconds, but as soon as I could move, I ran to the bathroom and locked the door. When I did, I heard footsteps immediately run out of my room.
Whoa.
I gently closed the door behind and stayed in that bathroom for at least an hour.
It's pretty spookus.
That's a spooky one. That would be a 2-week spook for me. I think about that living in a building with a lot of people. I hear footsteps and then go, I hope that's a person and not a ghost.
Yeah, that's a little spookitude.
Give that 3.3 weeks. 3 weeks, 3 days.
Yeah.
All right, Nate. We'll start the cycle again, and we'll end on this turn. Start of initiative. Nate, go.
17.
Ooh, I almost scrolled exactly
Kip
to
Winger's a fan of.
No.
When I was younger, my parents would frequently go run errands in the neighborhood city and be gone most of the day from morning to night. Our living room was in a spot where you would have to walk through it to get from the back door to reach either the front door or my parents' room. You would walk between the couch and the TV while doing so. So I was home alone, and my dad came through the back door, walked in front of me, and he crossed the room and entered his and my mom's room. Then he came back out, walked across my field of vision again, and left through the back door. He didn't look at me, look at the TV, or really do anything besides walk across the room in both directions. When I asked him what he came home for or if he forgot something, he honestly had no clue what I was talking about.
Weird.
There were an hour and a half away and coming home for something when they forgot. Let me say all that again. They were an hour and a half away and coming home for something they forgot would not have made much sense. So they were like long driving. This is like Texas going to the mall type shit. And he was also wearing different clothes when I spoke with him compared to when I saw him earlier.
Huh.
Doppelganger right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's not making me sleep easy ever.
Yeah,
I'm going for 4.
Yeah, I think 4 is a good number. That's fucking creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Nate, Jordan, choose the number of your demise.
18.
Ooh, I shouldn't have scrolled so far away. My wife claims she also had a doppelganger event with her brother.
Oh.
She said that she was pissed off at him because he didn't walk the dog.
Okay.
So she was taking the dog out when she ran into her brother downstairs in the building lobby or parking lot, and he was with a friend she'd never met. Her brother asked her for her house keys, and she said no because she was mad at him. He told her he was thirsty, and she walked away.
She was like, yeah, I know, you thirsty bitch.
When she got back home, he was not anywhere. As soon as she walked in, she got a call from a hospital that her brother was having an asthma attack and wanted her to go keep him company.
Oh boy.
What freaks her out the most is thinking, what would have happened if I gave him the keys? Would they have gone through his hand?
Oh, whoa.
Kind of, I guess, like a ghost dad situation to where you're a ghost, but your body's still alive.
But you're also a dad.
Who was the person he was with?
Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah.
I think about that shit quite often.
That's very creepy.
All right. This one is a longer one. I think it's a good one to wrap up on because of nothing. I based the decision on the fact there's a radio.
Your favorite contraption.
My favorite contraption. My husband and I own a martial arts school, and the building that it's in, which we also own, is about 130 years old and next to a church. I never, and still don't really, there has to be some other explanation, believe in the paranormal, but things that happen in this building just didn't happen to me. It was decrepit, which was why we purchased it so cheaply, and we basically did all the work ourselves. Old, creaky, and drafty building. A bunch of things happened there. Here's one. One Saturday morning, my husband was on his computer in the other room. I'm in the apartment playing with the Tamagotchi app on my iPad when I heard the stereo sitting in front of me click on, and a girl's voice started to talk from it.
It said, I kissed a girl and I liked it.
I thought he controlled the stereo from his computer, so I ignored it because he often put on music to work out before class started, which he teaches the morning class. I do remember thinking that it was kind of weird indie music he was listening to, because the voice just said, hi, my name is, I thought I heard Kate, but I'm not exactly sure.
It's like a Slim Shady.
I was about to say.
It said, hi, my name is,
what?
And then crackle, I'm something years old, crackle, I'm from something undiscernible. I didn't catch the specifics.
Wait. It's a Suzanne Vega song. No, it is. It's called Tuca. Or Luca.
Oh God, my name is Luca. I live on the second floor. Yeah.
Does it go with I am blank years old? I am from.
I think so.
I think the second verse talks about it. Yeah.
Let's hear the rest of it.
Well, we solved the mystery. I didn't catch the specifics because I wasn't really listening, but that went on for about 2 or 3 minutes. Until it suddenly went, somebody's or something's hurting me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the song.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a song about a kid who's being abused. And she can hear him upstairs.
Good Lord. Oh, no.
Something's killing me. Something's killing me. At this point, the hair is standing up on the back of my neck. I'm getting up from the couch to take a closer look. Please, someone tell my parents, tell the teachers, tell the correction officer. Is this all part of the song?
Yeah, that's all in there. Those are all lyrics.
Hysterical.
I fucking listened to it yesterday.
This is very funny.
I just bolted into the other room and started yelling at my husband and cursing him out because I was certain he was playing a trick on me. I told him, we don't play fucking jokes about dead people. And of course he's looking at me like, what the fuck? When he finally calmed me down long enough to get what I heard out of me, he told me it was impossible and led me to the stereo. It's not plugged in.
Whoa. Okay. Whoa. Now that's even spooky for Suzanne Vega.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make out of that one.
I mean,
obviously it was playing a Suzanne Vega song, which I've never heard before, yes, but I need to apparently.
So here's the thing, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but it is possible for radio frequencies to be picked up on like metal objects. People have had radio frequencies picked up on their fillings. That's like a proven thing.
Right.
That's happened.
Yes, the old metal fillings would pick up radio waves, and I believe is part of the reason why we now and the cost of it use epoxy based fillings now.
Yeah, well, unless you go to my dentist.
Just stop the CIA from leaking all their information.
Unless you go to my dentist in Brooklyn, who melts down soda cans and pours them directly into my skull.
It's cheaper that way.
Yes, and dirtier. Just the way he likes it. That makes it a lot stranger. I think we're still in the area of explainable, but that's stranger than just radio.
It all gives me goosebumps. One, that pop is finally getting dark, and I think I might like it, and I'm learning stuff about myself.
I think that song's from like 1990 something.
It's got to be like 98, 97.
What happened? Why was I not listening to this music? I was over here listening to Blink 182.
Where have you been, man? I thought you were a real Vega head.
I should have been. I hate when the ghost give the devices energy and just they can't work because the battery isn't in or it's not plugged in.
Yeah.
I give this 5 weeks, even though the ghost is playing
5 weeks,
a song, but I'm giving this 5 weeks.
I give this no weeks. I would be fine by that night.
But it's not plugged in, Jordan.
Yeah. Man.
Knowing that it's going to take at least a year before there's any sort of social interaction from the state with Luca, I'm going to have to give it that amount of time.
Yeah.
I'll be haunted until he's taken away.
Yeah.
And put into foster care.
Yeah. Somebody help out Luca.
All right, everyone. That's my segment. I'm going to call it BuzzFeed's list of some good and some generally frightening ghost stories pulled from Reddit.
And that does it for another episode of Werewolf Radar. Thank you so much for listening. Please tell your friends about the show, and please give us 5 stars wherever 5 stars can be given, on iTunes, on is iTunes still even a thing?
It's
Apple
called Apple Podcasts. Yes.
Spotify, on friggin' all the places. You can just give them to us on the street. If you see us, be like, hey, here's some stars. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Instagram. Check out the website. If you really, really like what we did today, you can go to patreon.com and you can go ahead and sign up to help us with a small financial donation, and you will get an extra episode every week called a Grave Nugget. It's a lot of fun. This week we talked about grave robbing, and now we know how to do it. We're not gonna, maybe, but
well,
a lot of money can be made if you're in the 1800s, which we are.
Dude, weirdly amount. I wish my dead body could fetch that much of a cost nowadays.
Yeah, I also learned
in the 1800s
that
you're
my body,
actually worth more dead than alive.
Yeah, my body probably wouldn't be worth much, unfortunately, which was a turning point for me. I think that does it. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting to talk about?
I think I'm good. Twitch, we play games. Just Google Werewolf Radar. You'll find werewolfradar.com. And that's got links for a lot of stuff, plus a little contact tab to where if you've had a paranormal event and you would like to share it, reach out.
Please tell us. We would love to hear your tale.
We would tell your story with respect and laugh at our own fears.
Exactly. Until next time, our not so secret sign off line for all listeners. Join us on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Punch the sky.
Spaceman Joe.
I like that we often call it the not so secret sign off, which just means that we have a secret one.
We do.
But there's no reason why anyone on the not so secret end should know that there's a secret one.
I like to give them a little teaser to let them know what they're missing out on.